I can assume that you might follow some photographic social media, maybe Facebook groups, Instagram, or whatever. But the key is you probably notice how popular is natural light outdoor photography, especially portraits. And there is plenty of them, very beautiful, and that's why I decided to make part of this course specifically on outdoor portraits, outdoor natural light portraits, because that's also a very important factor of this. And many of you might want to start photography adventure. Some of you is retouchers, they want to start photography adventure, and the easiest way to start this shooting portraits is of course shooting outdoor and without any light, on budget, or maybe you don't have studio. So the easiest way to start is just start shooting outdoor images. So why not to show you how to approach outdoor images? Because many of the steps we are going to do, we are going to take the same steps, but of course there will be some small differences. And the reason is, first of all, the lights are very different on outdoor images than the studio images. The studio images have fake lights, you can easily adjust them, they are nearly perfect, there's no many corrections. Unfortunately, with outdoor images, we don't have these lights. We have to manipulate with lights because some lights might be wrong, and it's probably a little bit more difficult, the lights part. So I'm going to show you how to do this, different techniques, how to play with lights, of course, and also how to do raw processing, because it's also very important. The colors are a little bit different. What is happening to colors with outdoor images? They are often a little bit washed out. Not all of them, but some of them might happen, and the reason is because of lack of lights. Of course, for other images, as you can see, the colors are pretty strong, especially on this one. And when I look at this image, her sweatshirt is a little bit washed out, but I like this image, so that's why I would like to start with this. Of course, you could do some other image, maybe even easier image. I'm not going to take these warm images. The reason is because they are already very good. That will be very simple challenge. So I'm going to start with this. We have to bring up some of the colors, so that will be a little bit challenging, and I believe for learning values it's great, and it's also a very beautiful moment catched over here. So always starting with the same steps, which is of course bringing some shadows, but what you can see, there is not so many shadows, but the main issue is really strong highlights over here. They are not going so well over the face, so we have to knock it down. It will be, for me, way easier to retouch them, and also it will be easier later to set up the right highlights for her. So that's why I'm knocking the highlights a lot. It would not happen on other images. Maybe here I would knock them just a little bit, but here this image is especially challenging, and you can see that difficulty level is a little bit different between these. I'm not going to change exposure right now, but I would jump straight away into color editor. And first thing I want to do, I want to choose the colors that exist on the image, so I will know what I need to work with. First color, very visible, of course, blue. The second color, and you can also see the information, the second color will be our skin tones, so catching this. And the third color is quite mixed because we have from yellow tones over here, as you can see, we have into some green tones over here, so I need to find some color that exists mostly on the background. And I believe that would be maybe some green over here, like it's quite similar, the cyan here, so choose somewhere from here. And right now what we can see how the colors are against each other. We have blue color, which is into nearly perfect opposition to the orangey tones, which I don't want to change. And to adjust them better, probably I would knock down the hue on the blue. Though the green color changed everything. So this blue actually is not so bad anymore when we think of the blue color as a complementary for these two. So I would even actually change the hue, add the hue to make this color getting into purples, and for sure I would resolve this washed out color by just bringing some saturation. And I know it's very saturated right now, but it's actually looking good. And outdoor images, as I mentioned before, they look good when they are well saturated, when they are warm, or that's just my approach. Of course, your artistic approach could be very different to mine, but I like to think in the artistic ways on the images that are fashion images, maybe shot in studio. Though outdoor portraits for me I'm approaching them rather in the warm ways, saturated images. And then let's go to greens, because I don't want to touch the yellows, and I will saturate this for sure. Though, let me check. The perfect way would be going that way, because then we have just two colors, we have yellows and blues, they would work well together. But I don't want to work just with two colors, I want to have three colors on the image, and that's why I would try to play with these three colors. Though this green is not really perfect, so I'm just going to remove this, and I want to check some other greens actually, maybe some more somewhere here, more here, which is a rather cyan color, and how it will work for me. And this color actually, I didn't want to choose such a strong cyan. I was planning to get somewhere here, but I feel it actually working better for me. It does definitely working better. Maybe actually somewhere in between. Now it's perfect. Now it's really perfect. Sorry for delays. It took me a while. And now I have the strong saturated image. Before I will go to my skin tones, I would like to go back to the color balance, and for this image that will be perfect. For shadows, we have some blues over here, have a lot of shadows on her sweatshirt, so there is nothing more I can do about shadows as adding some of the blue tones into it. And also, of course, not midtones. I didn't notice what we have over here. Let's go back. And shadows. I was wondering why I didn't affect shadows so much. Of course, I choose the wrong panel. So now we can see it. And also, when it's about saturation, I will go down a little bit over here with the sweatshirt. About highlights, I want warm tones on her face, so I would go with a little bit of orangey tones, and mid-tones I will leave as they are. But if you want to experiment a little bit more, I believe pushing more green out of mid-tones would be great. Though it doesn't look well because we affect the mid-tones on the face. So if you would like to get some of the greens, maybe from local adjustments, I believe that would work just beautiful for you. So that's actually your choice. And now let's go back to local adjustments and into the skin tones. So I'm sticking to the fact that outdoor portrait would look great as a saturated one. After I pick my skin tone, I would just add few points of the saturation, because I can show you an example. When I go down, it doesn't have this warm look anymore. You might like it, but to me the image looks much better when it's outdoor portrait rather in the warm ways. So that would be everything. Simple process. I try to get what's best on this. And of course, remember when you work with other images, the color of the clothes, the set has to be the same. So we would go in the same way with other images. If we would do, you can go a little bit less, maybe with the color of her blues. If you really like this, it also look really great. If we lower the values, it actually work well. But to me, I wanted to experiment a little bit more with colors, thinking of this one specific image. But remember, if you work on sets, this is super important. And now we are ready to process the image, the destination, process, format, name, output naming, outdoor number 1. I already said this because I'm recording this for the second time. And also process summary, check all of the information. I'm hitting process, and the next steps will be in Photoshop.